I've been in Edgewater since 1996, and this office has been in Edgewater since 1999. The label was actually started in the fall of 1989 with our first release. And the idea for the label came about because I would notice wonderful Chicago musicians that I would hear in live concerts or live broadcasts on WFMT on the radio. And then I would go to the record store, which back then was Rose Records, to look for their recordings, and there was literally nothing to be found. So I thought the idea of starting a label with the mission of actually bringing these wonderful musicians to the record catalog. And back then I was pretty much funding it out of savings, but the idea of turning the label not-for-profit, which it's been since 1994, was always in the back of my mind because of our local mission to record and promote through the recordings the finest classical musicians in and from Chicago. And as I mentioned before, that covers a lot of different genres, and that includes composers as well. And then sort of larger than that, all the programmatic ideas come from the artists themselves. That's been a tenet of the label from the start, because that's how you get exciting recordings. Because the musicians are playing the music they're most passionate about. But that's early in our history. One of our very first recordings with violinist Rachel Barden-Pine, who was just Rachel Barden back then, this is around 1997, was a very special recording called Violin Concertos by Black Composers of the 18th and 19th Centuries. And this was a project that Rachel and the Youth Symphony had actually cooked up. Well, we did that with the elite chamber orchestra of the Youth Symphonies. It's called the Encore Chamber Orchestra. So that was our first experience. Like I said, that was over 20 years ago. Well, one of the things I'm proudest of about Cedille is to date we have brought out the world premiere recordings of over 300 works, but most of them are recent works. And Chicago is such a great town, by the way, for new music and great music. And I think that does bring in a younger audience, certainly. The mission has also evolved more and more towards promoting career. As time has gone on and so many younger musicians have come to the label and so many have made debuts, we actually have counted over 80 debuts of different soloists, ensembles, composers with Cedille Records. So more and more the mission has moved towards using the recordings to promote the careers of these musicians, and we really work hand in glove with them. And for me, what makes it gratifying is the value it has for the musicians, and also in that, for the public too. I mean, the responses to the recordings are really tremendous. So far, six Grammy awards. So that kind of recognition is really gratifying. And then the other thing about more and more being able to use the recordings to promote the musicians and their career. So, and I love it when these synergies happen. And that's actually another great thing about Chicago, I should mention, is the collaborative aspect of the music making here. Chicago is such a major and such a diverse musical center. That's one of the things that makes it special. That's what makes working here so exciting. I mentioned before, it's great to be in this Edgewater community. As I talked about Chicago being such a diverse center of music, well, that's one of the things I love about this neighborhood is the diversity. I am pretty heavily involved in progressive politics, and North Side Democracy for America was actually founded right here in Edgewater, and the original steering committee meetings used to be in my house, and I've been involved in the local politics. Actually, when I started the label, I was also in law school, and I found pretty quickly that I was much more passionate about making recordings than I was about studying law. And of course, in some ways my life had always been preparing me for this, I feel like. So music and especially the recording side of music was always a passion of mine, and that I was able to then turn that into a career, has made life pretty good. So yes, I would say if you can find a way to do that, always follow that. Yes. So I've got